your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to the incredible, the amazing Rough Cut Golf podcast being broadcast around the world, hitting your ears in whatever nation you currently park your behind. We are here at Close House Golf Club, and we have a very special guest coming up, Mr. Lee Westwood. But before the main course, we have the aperitifs of myself, Kieran, and Mick sitting under a banner of Hazeltine in the pavilion on the golf course, and it's fantastic to be here.
What an amazing thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Listen, I've worked hard on
Not you, you're joking. Yeah, it's like, for people just listening, behind Peter's head is the Ryder Cup 2016. I would call that a tapestry.
Yeah, I don't know what it... Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's a blankie.
It's good.
It's a Hazeltine blankie.
Now, we do have another problem. You know, we had that initial problem where you were moving to Pinehurst. We now have another problem where we're all going to do the podcast from here every week.
Yeah.
This is a perfect house. This is like my dreams, because it's nice and big, but it's not ostentatious. Mm-hmm. It's just beautifully clean and light and bright. It's on a golf course. It's got nice towns nearby, some pubs. It's got a table. It's got a kitchen. It's got a really big bathroom.
It's got a chair
that chair's horrible, by the way.
That chair's seen something.
Yeah,
that's a British Masters chair. That's the back of it shaped like a golf ball.
Yeah. The way
it's going to turn.
No, don't. It makes so much noise.
The way it sounds and the way the stains on it. Yeah, I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
But we played yesterday. You played at Stand. For the second Quest mini series, the Pie Invitational or whatever we were calling it, and I have no idea. There was a lot of pies. However, you will have seen in the Quest for the Open episode that unfortunately some people went home empty-handed.
Yeah.
How are you, Peter Finch, going to rectify this situation?
More pies, maybe a few pasties. Oh yeah, you did a bit of sausage roll. You didn't see that coming, did you? To put everyone in the picture who's not seen the Quest for the Open video, by the way.
Why not?
Which I can't believe that you haven't seen this yet. Is it actually out by the time this podcast comes out?
I wouldn't even...
I think it is. Because this podcast doesn't come out until the 18th.
Yeah.
So we're recording this just to break the seal on the magic. We're recording this 2 weeks before this comes out. And the Quest for the Open comes out on the Monday. This comes out on the Tuesday, and that comes out on Thursday.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right.
So the video isn't out yet.
No, it is out.
Okay,
it came out yesterday.
That's a great chat, ladies and gentlemen.
So this is how organised we are.
Yeah. So if you've not seen the video yet, we had a few events. One at Stand, the one at Knot End. Knot End I've not played yet because that is next week, even before this has been released. However, at Stand Golf Club, which we have played in, we had a little bit of a giveaway. For every birdie that a golfer had, they got a pie, a butter pie, Preston's proudest achievement in pastry. And we teamed up with Clayton Park Bakery. And by the time we'd finished our round, we had run out of those taste sensations because that many birdies had been had that they were all gone. And it went down like an absolutely rip-roaring success. I think we should probably do this again.
Yeah, I think if on the golf course you were... you weren't saying, "Oh, did you birdie that hole?" You were saying, "Did you pie that hole?"
Yeah.
That's a really good sign.
People were saying as well when they were just on the clubhouse, they were like, "Is this more of an incentive?" You know, like people were saying, like, you know, if there's nothing, because there's nothing on it, if it's just normal. But this was like, if you birdie it, it's a pie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so there was more incentive. People were saying they were really questioning themselves.
Yeah, I think the fact we ordered what we thought was going to be enough, but then it was there was barely any wind. The course was in really good condition. There was some very low scores. In fact, Phil Kelly had so many pies, you know, that we had to cap it and stop giving away. It was like a maximum 4, wasn't it?
Yeah. So like the first couple of groups came. The first group came and there was only 2 birdies, and you know, there was only 2 players playing. But
Sam's behind the camera. Hello, Sam.
Hello, everyone.
He's so tall that we couldn't find a wide enough lens to fit him in, so we've had to...
I'm stood outside because they don't fit under the roof.
Me and Sam were out on the golf course, and you were operating pie cam, so you know all the information.
Yeah. And like, there was this guy as well who's like, he just played, and he sat down with his pie and said, and I told him the whole story that a birdie was a pie and stuff like this. He said, "Oh, you'll have a lot of pies left over," he said, because all the pins, I don't know, were the pins in tight positions? That's
No,
what
not really.
No.
Oh, right, okay.
He just had a shocker.
he said the pins are in tight positions, and ended up that we ran out. But that's only because we think there was the wrong delivery of the amount. But we don't know.
Listen, this was a test study.
Yeah.
You know, we're not done this before.
Yeah.
This hasn't been, as far as I am aware, in the history of PGA events ran in the United Kingdom, it has not been a thing that when a pro gets a birdie, they get a pie. So, because of that, there were going to be issues. Of course, there's going to be teething issues.
Yeah.
When you pack that much pastry and that many pros in one position, it's going to be an issue.
That was really good.
You know what I mean?
Very good.
We didn't have any gravy. Big problem. Like, we should have thought of that. We should have had jugs of the stuff ready.
Yeah,
That is true.
KFC cups of it.
Listen, we're not going to be perfect first time. So just give us a chance. Let us get our game together.
Yeah.
And let's think about how we could deliver a better program of tasty treats.
It does also come down to the conditions of the weather and the golf course as well. Because if this was Fleetwood, we'd have a lot of pies left over. From what I understand.
People would have owed us pies.
If it was Fleetwood, we'd be eating pies for every meal.
Lee Westwood could have had 20 pies today. Yeah. By the way, I just want to, before we get Lee Westwood on, which we're about to do in a moment to talk through lots of things, he's been very generous with his time today. We've played a match-play match around here at Close House. It's been an incredible day, and obviously just done this podcast with him as well. But I just want to take a moment just to reflect a little bit, okay, on where we are, right? Okay. I don't do this very often because I'm always thinking about the future. I'm always thinking about what we're going to be doing. But I just want to bring this to everybody's attention, okay?
Okay.
In this last week, we are now on Friday, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in reverse order, we've just filmed a match with a former world number 1, 44-time winner, legend of the game, Lee Westwood, at a beautiful golf course where they've given us access to a pavilion to stay for free so we can film. We're about to go over there and grab some food. We just travelled 2 hours up the road from Stan Golf Club where we co-hosted a professional event where we sponsored, we gave prize money, and as an incentive for people to get birdies, we gave butter pies. All right?
And we saw Jeremy Kyle today.
Jeremy Kyle came over and shook my hand, which was very random.
I had forgotten about that. Well done.
Carry on.
Yeah. So, just in a 2-day period, like we've done stuff that we've literally never done before. Like, what did we do earlier this week? I'm sure we've done some other stupid stuff that I can't even think about.
Did we? What else did we do?
Like
Monday was a bank holiday.
We
weekend.
had a day off. We don't do that very often
No,
either.
that's true. Yeah.
All that in a 4-day week.
Yeah, all that in a 4-day week.
Oh my God.
And when we were back, we were editing a video about making a cut on Myrtle Beach. So we played in South Carolina.
Harrington.
We filmed and edited a video with Podrick Harrington. Podcast came out. Literally, I just want to say a huge thank you to basically everyone for watching, everyone subscribing, everyone for interacting with the videos, because without you, without what you are giving to us with your time, then we wouldn't be able to do any of this. Yeah. And it has been a crazy start to the year, and I'm very, very excited to see what's happening.
I think you might cry.
Sorry?
I think you might cry.
I'm not going to cry. I'm just pumped for this year. This year's been great so far.
Yeah, we have seen some. Do you know what else happened for the first time this year? Yesterday was you shot an under par round.
Listen, game's trending. Things are looking up. Do you want to know? We're going to get to Lee Westwood right now. Do you want to know the one thing which has been really bad this year? And this is the only problem I've really had.
Weather?
No.
Oh.
Because we've been away.
Oh, right. What is
Okay.
it?
One thing. Before going to Lee Westwood, the one thing that I have a problem with, I had to share a room with Kieran last night. And this boy, honestly, I'd rather be stuck in a locked room with a hungry hyena than sleeping with this man. I've never known anything like it. Imagine a ship coming in through fog and warning the harbour that they're coming. That's what was happening in that room.
So you've just...
Imagine that ship coming in, honking its horn, and just like, as it was coming in, it was just like hitting sea life, and they were crying out in pain. And then he was like crunched into the dock because he didn't get his bearings right. And that's what the noises were.
And it was full of dynamite.
Yeah, and as it hit, it finally exploded.
So you've just said.
Yeah,
You've just said you've had one of the best years ever. We've done amazing stuff, but the one thing that is just wrong with it is sleeping next to me.
It'll always has an asterisk this year.
Do you remember that time we filmed with Lee Westwood and went to Close House and it was absolutely incredible and the weather was beautiful? I do actually. Kieran wouldn't stop snoring.
That's Kieran night. Right, let's get on, Lee.
Yep, let's do it. Peter Finch versus Lee Westwood, and we do get into some great topics, so enjoy this.
And we are joined by the one, the only, Mr. Lee Westwood. Lee, thank you for sitting in this lovely pavilion surrounded by your memorabilia and charming mementos from a life in golf.
Thanks very much.
It's all right. It's a good intro, that, wasn't it?
Very good.
That was not bad. Yeah.
You sound like you know what you're doing.
I rehearsed that a lot in the shower this morning. 10 minutes it took me.
Jamie didn't rehearse you put in.
No.
I've been sat here with a win.
I was rehearsing my excuses, and they were many.
Did you run out?
Yeah. I actually wrote them all down on my hand, and they got washed off. We have an incredible array of questions, if I say so myself. I am saying that, but Kieran and Mick, who are playing producer today, have written them all down.
We have, yeah. We've got an extensive list. I mean, we can just get straight into it. Obviously...
Oh, all right.
If you want.
No.
No foreplay.
No,
Well, I mean, yeah.
You didn't even buy us a drink for this.
Straight in.
Let's first of all talk about what we won't give away the result, but let's just say that we have spent 4 hours out on one of the most beautiful golf courses that we have played in a very long time. Peter Finch versus should be Sir Lee Westwood. A match play extravaganza. Don't give away the result, but how did you feel? How did you feel it went?
Are you about to ask him for something?
That
was an incredible buttering up.
Wasn't it?
We're paying that.
I felt a little bit sick in myself. Sick in my own mouth.
Why would you make it so awkward? Yeah. We're all having a nice time.
We'd quite like to go in your car.
That's kind of it.
We were building up to it.
We saw the car and we thought we would just be really nice to him during the podcast and then Seve will whip us around the block before he goes.
I'm sorry, I interrupted your question. Carry on.
So yes, talk us through how you think you played today, without obviously giving away what actually happened because the video's coming out in 2 days' time. How was the course? How did you get on? What do you think of Pete's game?
It wasn't my finest day on a golf course, without giving too much away. I can do better. Felt a little bit rusty out there, and I'm a little bit under the weather. I don't want I don't want you to need to get the Kleenex out, but I'm carrying a bit of a chest infection, and it's affected my balance.
I mean, I would actually say that we were close to getting the Kleenex out on quite a few occasions today. It was a bit rough at times, but Lee soldiered through. I mean, you have just come off like literally a red eye from
Singapore.
Singapore.
Battling about 8 hours of jet lag, so it's my excuse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pile on the excuses, but we came up from Manchester yesterday, so we were struggling with that as well. So it's about even.
Yeah, let's move on to the golf course.
Yeah,
it was in good condition, I thought.
Very good.
I played it about a month and a half ago, and it was really wet, and now it's really dry, and it looks like it needs watering. So that's what it's like around here. This part of the world, it's like what it's like in England, isn't it? It's wet, and all of a sudden you have summer, and it's nice. So it's a battle for the greenkeepers, but our greenkeeper here does a great job, and I don't think we've got any excuses about the condition of the golf course today, do we?
No, it was great. I mean, like Lee said, like the last couple of months have been horrific for anybody with a lawnmower, especially when it's their job. But like the course out there was the last 2 weeks, it must have come on absolute leaps and bounds. I think that's the best condition I've played that course in, apart from the British Masters week.
You said you've never played it not being in 30-mile-an-hour winds as well.
Honestly, I was... obviously, we've planned this kind of day for quite some time, and playing with you is something I've always kind of wanted to do. Ever since I was a wee boy. But
who's doing the buttering up now?
Oh my God!
Come on!
But
I'm starting to feel sick again.
Every time I've come to Close House, I've always had like a shocker, and it's always been blowing a million miles an hour. So to wake up this morning in this condition was great.
It's the first time I've ever played it without waterproofs on, I think.
There you go. That's what I was kind of a little bit worried about, but it was absolutely perfect. Greens were great.
It was stunning out there.
Yeah, wait till you watch the match. I thought it was brilliant.
And what was the third question? What was your game like?
Yeah, what did you think of Pete's game?
It was better than I thought it'd be.
Is that just previous experience with YouTubers, or is that you'd watched him before and thought he was trash?
The rumours were not true.
Rumours were not true.
There's a modicum of talent in there.
There's a thimble.
There's something to work with.
Yeah, it's not like... It's kind of like clay. It's just a bit unmolded yet, I'd say.
You've had time to mould it, Pete.
Nah. It's quite flabby clay, so it moves around a lot.
I mean, if with a bit of work, you could actually turn pro. You'd be
I'd
a
say so.
professional golfer.
I want to try and get to Cat 1 handicap. That's my real goal.
Yeah.
Shake off this 12. Yeah, it's been dogging me for a while.
See that?
That's where we're at.
Where do you think Pete needs the most work? Face?
Yeah, let's put it in context as well here.
Yeah.
I think he could probably just improve everything a small percentage. There's room for improvement everywhere, but there's potential everywhere as well.
So would you say he's a jack of all trades sort of thing?
Master of none.
Yeah.
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 Pretty much sums you up.
I'm slightly trash in all areas, and it's like I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. It's okay.
There wasn't one particular part of your game today that shocked me.
No, there was nothing that you could point out and go, oh my God, that's horrendous.
Yeah.
It's just all like,
Yeah.
that's fine.
The low snipe off 10, I mean, I was waiting for that because you'd warned me.
Yeah, don't want to give too much away, obviously, of the match, but I may have hit a car today. Something to stay tuned for.
A car.
Under the car. He was very diplomatic about it.
He was.
You didn't see, but
very nice about it.
yeah, you didn't see, but because we were all eating chicken sandwiches by the time he pulled in. But when he pulled into the car park, he did get down and lie down on the tarmac next to his car and check that you hadn't damaged it.
Look at how are you going to be able to tell? Like, if you look under a car, how can you tell if anything's damaged or not?
Yeah, he knows what it looks like under there.
Nobody knows what the underside of a car looks like. If you ever know what the underside of a car looks like, you're a mechanic or you've had a terrible accident and you're not going to tell anyone.
Wow, this took a real dark turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean it to. Sorry, it's a lovely day as well.
Speaking of accidents, do you remember the first time you filmed with Pete and Rick? Do you remember this? No.
No. This was.
Oh, it's not.
This was about 8 years ago.
Yeah, let Pete tell the story.
It was a Royal Wimbledon golf club.
Oh yeah. I did it for Titleist, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smash the panel,
Smash the glass.
smash the glass, / FootJoy Titleist sign.
Yes.
Do you remember almost killing a senior member?
No. Did I?
Yeah. It was pretty close. You cannoned off the side of the. We'll try and get the actual kind of footage.
No clip up, yeah.
Cannoned off the side of the frame, and it like flew. It gets bigger every time I tell it. About 150 yards to the left-hand side, and almost took an old member out. But you could tell he was really angry. But at the same time, he looked up, recognised it was you, and didn't know what to do. He didn't know whether to shout or come over and like try and shake your hand.
And you were at that shoot?
Yeah.
Wow. Must have lost some weight or something. Have you?
I gained a lot.
Okay, I was trying to be nice.
I gained a lot of weight and added a beard.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have glasses anymore
Yeah,
either.
so yeah.
And I don't have glasses yet.
So he's changed.
A lot's changed. It was someone else.
Yeah. Wasn't even my name. I actually sent someone else in my place.
Yeah.
Peter Finch.
And it was Rick Shields as well.
Yeah.
And he's gone on to be successful as well, hasn't he? That's amazing.
Yeah, he's done very well for himself.
Yeah.
Well, success, I think it's levels. Yeah, it's levels of success. You know what I consider a success? Being surrounded by lovely people in a lovely room on a lovely day at Close House.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah.
In this lovely pavilion.
In this lovely pavilion. You're welcome.
Okay, so we did take some questions from the internet as well. So leading off of the Pete hitting a bad shot on 10, Tim's SC29 on Instagram says, how does Lee get over a bad shot?
Well, everybody's going to hit him, so you just got to deal with it. You weren't trying to do it. Go back into your swing thoughts that you had on the range when you were hitting it well and try it on the next one. Can't do anything about it.
Is that with that like point bad shot? It's a question we get asked a lot, which probably shows that a lot of people hit a lot of bad shots. a lot of the time. Was there any kind of like method you use, or is it just like literally that acceptance and then just moving on? Did it take you any time to get there, or?
Oh, I used to carry it around in my earlier days, but you're trying your hardest on every shot, aren't you? You know, you're trying your hardest to do what's right and work on whatever you've been working on and what makes you hit good shots. And sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, God, it's a small ball, isn't it? And you're hitting it with another small club. And at the end of the day, you're trying to get it into a small hole as well. There's bunkers in the way, there's trees in the way.
When you put it like that, they have made it really hard.
They're not making it easy for us, are they? So
I considered whether I should carry on for a moment.
things are going to go wrong frequently, aren't they? So get over it and get on with it.
What was the guy's name? Tim, deal with it.
Yeah. Now the only
happens.
Yeah. Well, we don't swear on this podcast, but thank you so much for that.
We'll
bleep that.
We'll beep it.
No problem.
Whatever you want.
About 10 minutes in. Now that does affect you slightly less in a match play situation, because you know that the hole can just be, I take that, like Pete took a hole off today, and you kind of just reset yourself and come back. As someone who has kind of a reputation for being particularly good at match play, why is match play so exciting? And what's the...
Well, for the point you've just made there, you could even hit a bad shot and still be in the hole or walk away with winning that hole. You could hit it in the trees and hack out and pitch it onto the green and make it for par, and the other guy could hit 2 lovely shots on the green, 3-putt. All of a sudden you've won the hole. I mean, that's like the double blow, isn't it? That's one right in the ribs.
Yeah.
So, that's what makes match play so unpredictable and glorious, I suppose. I mean, when you think of the great match play players of the past, the first one that comes to mind with me is Seve Ballesteros. And he would have days where he'd hit it all over the golf course. And I remember him playing Tom Lehman in the Ryder Cup many years ago, 95 was it? And you could see Tom Lehman just getting more and more wound up as Seve was appearing to be out of a hole and then popping his head up from behind a bunker where he's just chipped in for birdie. And that can wind people up. So that's the great thing. You can take 10 on an hole in match play and you only lose that hole, and then you can go birdie, birdie, birdie. So it's. And
you've been involved in obviously a lot of kind of epic kind of match play matches. We're kind of under the Hazeltine.
Yeah, we lost that one.
We don't want to specifically talk about this one.
No.
Let's
pick one we won.
We'll ignore this one. Is it 10 Ryder Cups? Playing
11.
11.
Yeah. Just the 11.
That's what I mean, minus Hazeltine, which
we don't count.
Never happened.
That never happened.
Is there any kind of matches from that kind of time period that really stand out? That kind of just jump to mind straight away?
We had some great matches. Myself and Darren Clark had one epic match against Tiger and Phil where they were 3 up through 4 holes in Detroit, and we ended up winning 1 up, I think it was. Phil hit it against the fence on the final hole, much to Tiger's displeasure.
Oh, was that the one we just switched into
Callaway clubs, yeah.
Like literally the day before the Ryder Cup?
Yeah.
That was Hal Sutton.
Yes.
It was
the partnership that the world wants to see.
Apart from them two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, there's been so many great matches. That's the Ryder Cup conjures up that kind of thing.
Yeah. I love it.
Obviously, so like you were talking there about amazing stories. What was it like to be a part of the Medina?
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Of all the days on a golf course, that is the most memorable one for me. In any kind of tournament, really, I think that final day in Medina, with what seemed like an insurmountable lead for the Americans, when it just started to go in our favour. Well, it started to go in our favour the night before, didn't it? When Paul's finished like a steam train and won the last few holes and won his match. That was the catalyst, the swinging momentum that we definitely needed, even though we were still so many points behind. Then we came out the next morning, the top of the order got off to a flying start, and I watched the video afterwards, and even knowing that we won, I still can't believe that we won. I'll sit there and think, no, this is impossible. They're gonna, sooner or later, they're gonna win a match that is hanging in the balance, and they're gonna win. And it just never happened. It was bizarre. Just experiences that happened on the way around the golf course. I remember being stood on the 11th tee and a Lazabal came up to me. I think I was all square with Matt Kuchar at the time, and he looked at me and things were going right, and he had tears in his eyes and he goes, "We could really do with it winning this point." I was like, no. Sorry, I swore again. But and then, you know, I won a couple of holes and ended up beating him 3-2, but you could hear the crowd that day go from like what was they thought was going to be a party and a procession to, "Oh, Matty, come on, we need your point," and getting more and more. The pressure was just intensifying on them all the time.
Wow. What's it when obviously you're kind of focused on your match and Lathabal kind of coming over and saying that? How much are you aware of actually kind of what's going on? Is it just like that feeling from the crowd to give you that sense?
You don't know what's going on in individual matches. You don't know who's making a putt here, but you can hear from the crowd or not hear from the crowd whether it's going your way. You know, if you're playing in America, they go very quiet if things are going your way, and then obviously there's scoreboards everywhere. So if there's a sea of blue suddenly appears on the board, you're kind of looking at it and working your way down it, and right, who's going to have a chance at the winning putt and stuff like that. So yeah, you get a feeling, but you don't know specifically. And then obviously you watch the DVD afterwards.
Yeah,
and that's when I still think, yeah, we definitely didn't win this one. We did.
I think that might be the only actual sporting film that I bought. Medina
Paid real money for it.
Yeah, paid actual cash.
Medina,
yeah,
you actually
actual cash money for it.
Fair play to you.
Oh, it's just one of those sporting moments, isn't it? What, for a European side? I don't think sales in the US are massively high, but
yeah, I imagine the celebrations were pretty wild. Who was the best like to celebrate with? Or was it just the whole
it's
team?
always a good party.
Yeah.
Win or lose, we always have a good party.
Yeah.
And you know, we tend to teams tend to mix now. They didn't in the early days, but you know, now we go around to each other's team rooms and stuff like that. I guess because so many people play in the PGA Tour and, you know, have friends on both sides. So, and it's, you know, encouraged that, you know, the teams get on a little bit more now. Yeah. But yeah, I've had a couple of good parties where I've been the last man standing. I remember in Detroit going back to the room and we'd been told that we were leaving at 6:05 or something like that. And I remember walking into my room at 6 o'clock, setting my alarm for 6:04 and actually getting 4 minutes of solid sleep and pinging away. And one of the people that was supposed to kind of chaperone us and stuff like that, she said she saw me staggering down the corridor. I opened my door and left my door open. She stood at the door, looked in. She said, I just laid down on bed like that, literally went to sleep for 4 minutes, pinged away like that as my alarm went off, and picked my suitcase up, which experience I'd packed. Pre-packed.
Wow.
Got home and just wandered down the corridor to the meeting room where we were leaving. Yeah. She said it was just unbelievably professional performance.
One of the best
from a Ryder Cup veteran.
That's brilliant. That. I love that.
What do you? Obviously, Europe had a very, very exciting Ryder Cup experience very recently. How do you rate Europe's chances going back to the US?
Yeah, it's always difficult playing in the United States. You know, the crowd do definitely make a massive difference. But I thought in Italy we'd be struggling. I thought they had a really strong team. They probably made a few mistakes. I think they could have selected a few different people to suit the team. Not that they didn't have a strong team anyway. You know, it was very strong, but you know, it's fine margins in that. But New York's going to really suit them. The New York crowds are can get quite poisonous, but I think we've got enough good players now and good ones coming through where we should still have a chance, I think. And the thing is, when you go into their back garden, if you start off strongly and quick, their crowds tend to turn fast and almost go against them. Especially a New York crowd, you could see them doing that.
Yeah, I can imagine if they perform like they did in Rome, that'd be very toxic, very quick.
After that first day,
it's just who holds the most putts or the right putts at the right time. I mean, look at that last one in Italy. You know, first morning, Victor chipping in from the back of the first green.
That was unbelievable.
Sets a tone.
Yeah.
You know, and then you think through the matches, Justin Rose holding his putt.
Great.
Final green. Rahm all in one for a half in the singles against Scheffler.
Yeah.
All those little things happening at the right time. It is really fine margins in Ryder Cups now.
Yeah. And that was my first experience of a Ryder Cup in Rome last year. And
He'd never watched one before that.
saved myself.
Even though he'd bought the DVD.
Yeah.
To actually to feel that atmosphere on a golf course was just like that Hovland chip in. Obviously it's early in the morning, everyone's kind of up for it. But the way the roar rippled down the hole and literal goosebumps at a golf event I've never kind of had before. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
how they were managing to hit the ball on the first tee.
The Ryder Cup's completely different to any other golf tournament, and it's as close as you get to a football match in golf form. You know, some people have turned up and they've picked one side or the other. They're there to see great golf, yeah, but if it's in Europe, you don't particularly want to see the Americans hit a good shot, and if it's in America, they don't particularly want to see us hit a good shot. You know, they've picked a side, which makes the experience completely different for us golfers, but in a way better. You know, you can really use their energy and get them behind you.
That was the thing that kind of, obviously, you know, I've not played at an elite level, but the way they were actually, when you guys actually able to use the crowd rather than let it kind of pile on the back of you was unbelievable. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's what made it difficult at Whistling Straits. The fact that we were coming out of COVID and there were no away fans allowed. You know, that made it almost doubly hard. You know, we were really up against it because it was purely American cheers. You would hit a good shot and there'd just be nothing. You couldn't get. There was no feedback at all.
A little bit of breeze.
Yeah, the pin drop.
Listen off the lake. Great, thanks.
Tumbleweeds going over the fairway.
Yeah. And obviously, so moving away now from the Ryder Cup and moving into majors. Obviously, I haven't played in 91 majors. We touched on it earlier. Pete is going to be trying to qualify for the Open this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Do you need a caddy?
That's a video waiting to happen.
Oh, God.
I'm not saying I'm doing it.
Oh, right, okay.
I'll find somebody.
Thanks. That would be a flex, though, wouldn't it? Turn up at Hesketh pre-qualify. Who's caddied on?
Lee Westwood.
I turned up to caddy for my son at a tournament just after he turned pro. Oh my God, the poor kids themselves that he was playing with. I thought, I can't do that again.
Imagine standing next to him. Bless him.
Pretty mean, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what?
I wasn't trying to be mean. It just happens like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what advice would you give him to?
Where are you qualifying?
Hesketh.
Oh, right. It's quite a nice course.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. What advice would I give you? People are probably trying a bit harder than they need to, and they probably think that they need to shoot less than they do.
Yeah.
So
I think certainly first qualifying round, level par, kind of usually.
Easy way into it. Don't panic. Play sensibly.
Don't panic.
Yeah. It's only another round of golf.
So the Open is obviously one of Pete's big goals for the year. The other is to kind of get his mental game in check.
Yeah.
Which we've talked a little bit about kind of overcoming a bad shot. The thing that Pete struggles with is that he's really horrible to himself when things don't go right. How do you get that instinct of Pete swears at himself and calls himself rubbish when in fact that probably doesn't help very much? How do you get that out of your head?
Yeah, a lot of people are like that though. You know, beat themselves up. Do you work with anybody?
I did a little bit of stuff with Lee Cromblehome kind of a while ago, which was good. It's kind of one of those things. I know what I have to do.
But yeah, a lot of it's obvious, isn't it?
It's just a fact of getting across and doing it. I just find it very easy to lambast myself after a bad shot. But that's the same as everyone in golf.
Yeah, it's whether you take that to the next shot, isn't it? You know, let it affect your next shot.
I think as long as I give myself a lot of grief within my own little bubble around the ball, then just forget about it. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrrell does that. Tyrrell's kind of beats himself up a little bit and then will have a go at himself. But you know that he's not carried it on to the next shot. He's kind of got it out of his system, got it out of the way, and goes into the next shot with a clear, fresh mind.
Yeah, which I think is the best way. There you go.
If you do that, then fair enough.
So I'm allowed to be mean to myself.
Yeah, but
I'm not going to be too positive. It's not sunshine and rainbows and unicorns in my head.
Okay.
Some dark stuff in there. I just need to get it out every now and again.
Okay, that's fine.
That's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark. You should see somebody about that.
Yeah. Not to.
Yeah, not a sports psychologist, just full-on psychologist.
Speaking of sunshine and rainbows, the questions that people want us to ask you are obviously about your move to LIV, and to kind of get you to give us some horrible soundbite about how terrible the PGA Tour is and all this stuff and the reason you went. But in reality, are you just having a great time?
Yeah, I'm having a great time, yeah. And it came at the perfect time for me. I was playing the PGA Tour. I didn't really have any intentions of having a PGA Tour card, and then I finished second in Bay Hill and second at the Players Championship, and I got into the top 50 in the world, so I got into more events, and it was COVID, so I thought, I'll just join the PGA Tour and go and be easier to travel around America than it will be around Europe, which it was. I'd come out of when COVID happened and we came out and started playing again. I supported the European Tour and played a load of events. I think the start of that year I'd won in Abu Dhabi, which had got me in the top 50 in the world, and then at the end of that year I'd finished second in Dubai and won the race to Dubai, but also got into the top 50 in the world. So the start of that year, I thought, I'll just join the PGA Tour. And then I finished second and got well up the rankings and played the rest of the year in America. And then the following year, I was like, I don't really want to be a member of the PGA Tour. I just played there because, COVID was going on and I'd had a couple of good results, and it just seemed a bit easier than playing in Europe and going through all the different countries and the different countries' COVID practices and rules and regulations. So LIV came along, nearly 50 years of age, 14 tournaments. Don't want to play 25 to 30 tournaments anymore, which we have to do on the PGA Tour to do any good in the FedEx Cup. That's not designed for a nearly 50-year-old. So the option was, a year's exemption on the Champions Tour and play a bit of European Tour, or play 14 tournaments on LIV and a few seniors events. So it just seemed like a no-brainer to me. And to be fair, I was asked at the PGA Championship that Phil won at Kiwa Island about it, because it was, people were starting to talk about a golf league, and I said if a golf league came along and they offered me X amount of money, it'd be a no-brainer for me not to do it. So I did it when it was offered.
Are you still able to, with LIV, are you still able to go like seniors tournaments?
I can play in certain seniors majors. I could actually play in the senior PGA not next week, the week after, but there's so much travelling for me coming up with LIV events in Houston and Nashville, and then it's the US Seniors Open, which I'm actually playing in.
Okay.
And then there's tournaments in Valderrama and JCB coming quickly. So I decided not to play the senior PGA, but I'm going to play in all them, and I play my first senior major. The only one I can't play in is the seniors British, because it's half owned by the European Tour, and the R&A won't put their foot down and say no. This is an open championship. Lee and Richard Bland, for that matter, should be able to play. They pander to the European Tour and say, if we pay our fines, I think my outstanding fines are 850 grand or something like that. Well, I'm not paying them.
850?
Yeah, something like that. Because I disagree with the way they've been handed out. So that's why I can't play in the Seniors Open Championship. But I think the fans lose out there, personally.
How does that figure come?
It's just a number that they've come to
each
week for playing in LIV events up against European Tour events.
Oh, what? So an accumulative thing, and then if you want to kind of buy back in,
yeah, they're not even consistent with it. They're fining Tyrrell and John Rahm different numbers now.
I didn't know it was like an ongoing kind of.
Well, it's not with me. Mine stayed at that figure because I've resigned my membership of the European Tour.
Right.
But they haven't, and now they're getting fined a figure, but it's nowhere near the figure that myself and Ian Poulter and a few others got fined. So there's no consistency in their fines.
It's interesting to hear kind of how it works behind the scenes. Do you think there's a point kind of in time where everything comes back together? Because it feels obviously with different tours, like obviously DP World European Tour, PGA, LIV, kind of all kind of rotating around each other a little bit. Can you see outside the majors kind of a point where everyone does kind of come back together?
Well, I think they've discussed it and they've tried, but there was a talk of the PIF and the PGA Tour having this business together, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Party A and Party B want to join up, then let's call PGA Tour Party B. They go out and talk to Party C and get 1.5 billions worth of investment, which is SSG. How do you reckon that's going to make Party A feel?
Yeah, there's no need for them to invest there, is there?
Of course, there's not. Yeah, no. So, no, I think they're miles off. And I think the tour that's going to lose out the most in all this is the European Tour.
Yeah, well, kind of we said that as soon as it happened, it just seemed, if you put aside kind of any objections around kind of how it works and where these different players are going, you could just see that like the DP World was just going to be left like on its own, slightly on the outside, kind of looking in. And obviously Keith Pelly kind of made the decision to kind of do a strategic partnership with the PGA, which, as far as I'm aware, I don't know what that actually brings the DP World Tour.
Nobody knows what it looks like other than they give their 10 best assets every year to the PGA Tour.
Yeah, which seems very strange. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit biased towards the DP World Tour, European Tour, because that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I was really kind
I
of
played on it
invested
for 30 years and supported it through thick and thin. And, for only 6 of those 30 years, I think, was I a member of the PGA Tour, in America, when everybody else, went off. And through COVID, I supported the DP World Tour. So it definitely feels like my, home tour. Whenever I say to anybody, I said first and foremost I was a European Tour member. So, I'm upset to see the decisions that were made for the European Tour.
Before we get to the Instagram questions, we did want to talk a little bit about the Majestic season and the team dynamic at LIV, and how you think that kind of does the team dynamic add to the excitement of the tournament? And is there anything that the other tours can learn from what LIV are doing really well?
Yeah, I think the team dynamic, there should be more made of it. Really, I think it's still too based around the individual tournaments. I think we should get to a point where it's just all team, and more made of that.
Do you think that would make it a bit kind of like simpler from the outside looking in? If it was just
I think it'd be
teams?
easier for the public to understand if there wasn't any kind of individual thing, just pure team golf, which I think golf needs. Outside of the major championships and a few other events, I think it's fresh and it's new.
Yeah.
I think it's great to get a younger audience involved.
Yeah, I think that from the LIV I watched, that would be certainly a lot simpler if you just like had that leaderboard and it was just team scores.
Yeah,
because obviously then when it went out to the course and it showed an individual play, you'd understand that they were contributing to
the
that.
Majestics. So
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
up the cliques.
Majestics aren't playing well enough this year, though. I can tell you that.
What do you think's holding you back? Is Poulter letting you down, or
other than playing like that's holding us back mainly. Yeah, we just haven't performed.
You hold yourself personally responsible for that as the captain?
I think we all hold ourselves responsible. We could all play better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of a game plan going forward, or is it?
Not really, just to work harder.
Just to work harder.
Hit it closer, all more putts.
Release that putter blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we get to that? I mean, it'll come out in the video, but do you want to talk us through? You had a lesson with Poulter, a putting lesson recently. Do you want to talk us through what he was talking you through?
Yeah, I mean, I've always struggled to release the putter. I've always kind of dragged it through and pulled it towards me and hit it out the toe a little bit. So he gave me a couple of hours in Hong Kong, and I really started to roll the ball better. And in periods I have putted better, but it's quite different to what I've done for the last 30 years. So I'm finding it hard to consistently do it.
Very good. I've got a question here from I'm Lazario. Prime of your career, would you rather be 2 ahead or 2 behind of Tiger on a Sunday? Obviously, living in the era of prime Tiger, it's
2 ahead.
2 ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to chase him down.
No. What was it like being sort of in that era, like, and then obviously you taking over his number 1 spot?
Yeah, well, I played with him a lot, and so I didn't really get the intimidation factor of it all, but you could certainly see some people get intimidated by him. I mean, you know, I've seen him play some unbelievable golf and hit some shots that nobody else could hit. I remember a 3-wood in Detroit in the Ryder Cup. On the second hole, I think it was, a big high slice to about 4 feet. I mean, it was an amazing shot, and you just couldn't see anybody else hitting that shot. And his ability to get up and down and make putts when he needed to and keep momentum was one of the things that was most impressive about him. People get it in their heads about the way he played, and they build him up that, you know, he hit all these fairways and big drives and hit these great shots. He didn't. He was unbelievable scrambler, getting up and down when he needed to. I think there was an incredible stat one year at Akron where he was something stupid like 52 of 52 inside 15 feet.
Yeah.
On them greens. I mean, just bonkers. To never miss inside 15 feet on them greens.
So going from Tiger to, and we've spoke very briefly about Seve. Do you want to tell us your favourite Seve memory? My favourite Seve story was, I got a few, but one was we were playing my first ever Ryder Cup at Valderrama, and I was on the putting green before we were going out to play, and I'd played 2 years to try and qualify for this team, and I was stood on the putting green, and I was about to, I think we were in the 4th match or 3rd match, me and Faldo. So Faldo's over there in a few practice putts, and I'm stood in this corner in a few practice putts, and Martin Gray, who caddied for me at the tour school, but at the time was caddying for Seve, was stood next to me, and he likes a joke, and I'm hitting a few putts, and this white pair of shoes comes and stands, FootJoy shoes, pristine they were, stands like right behind me like this, and I knew it was Seve, so I looked up and I go, "Hey Seve, how you doing?" He's like, I ain't wood. You know what? I didn't have that on my bingo card today.
And he looks at me, he goes, "How are you?" I'm like, "I'm good. I'm really excited." He says, "The crowd, it can be very intimidating, no?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm enjoying the noisiness. I mean, it wasn't in the days where there were 5,000 around the first tee like there are now, but they were noisy. They were getting loud and supporting the Europeans, and there'd been a rain delay as well, so they'd had a few drinks, and they were getting into it." So he said, he holds his hand out, and he goes like that for me to hold my hand out, so I hold my hand out like that, and he goes like that, and I open my hand up, and he's put a tennis ball size of cotton wool in the palm of my hand, and I'm like,
"What's that for?"
He goes, "It's a noise. It's very intimidating. Tear this in half and put it in your ears. You will not hear a thing," like this. So Martin's listening to all this, Martin Gray, and he grabs the cotton wool out of my hands like that. He rips it in half, and there's got 2 massive pieces of cotton wool sticking out of his ears, and he's wandering around like this, like he's going, "Hey, Westy, this is brilliant. Can't even take it." And Seve looks at me and looks at Martin. He goes, "Martin, you son of my," like that, and stomps off. And I'm just stood there like 23 years old, like, what is going on here? What's just happened? Seve, one of my heroes, and I was just like, wow. Here we go.
That is one of the funniest things.
Good Lord, that's very good.
Everybody's losing it at the Ryder Cup.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So one of the only things, I mean, we had this question from a couple of people actually. Rob Fowler asked, if you were to build a Ryder Cup team from people you've played with throughout the eras, doesn't have to be now, who are you picking? Who's your first pick, and can you give us like the main heads you would go for?
Seve would definitely be there. Although I didn't play on a Ryder Cup team with him. Monty, Sergio, Poltz.
Yeah, got to have Poltz in there, haven't you?
Yeah. Langer, probably. Going through a few now, aren't we?
We've had some great players, haven't we?
Absolutely
We've had some great
unbelievable
players.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to sit down and have a think about the rest, but that's not the best. It's not a bad start of a team. Is
there anyone in particular who you'd like to play opening day matches with as a pair?
Myself and Darren were always pretty good at. He was a very good Ryder Cup partner. Tee to green, brilliant. And I always think when you're picking out a partner for somebody, it's always nice, especially in foursomes, if they've got a similar style of game, because then they're into similar places on the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've played with different people and I've been successful with it. I played with Luke Donald and we beat Stricker and Tiger 7-5 or something like that. But I feel like it's easier I felt like it was easier if I was playing with Darren or Sergio Garcia, where, you know, they were into places where I was familiar with and I was into places where they were familiar with.
You feel a bit more comfortable from those areas.
Yeah, you've got matching games.
Mm.
Yeah, brilliant.
So we want you to talk a tiny bit just before we let you go, because we have kept you for a little while. We want to talk a little bit about what it feels like to be world number one. None of it, apart from, you know, Pete's got potential, but none of us have experienced what it's like to be the best in the world.
Pass the torch on to you, Pete.
I can't accept it yet.
And to take it off Tiger is pretty special.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk us through kind of, is there a new pressure? Is there you kind of got a target on your back? How does it feel?
Yeah, all of those. It's a bizarre feeling, actually. And mine was, I became world number one in a really strange place at a really strange time. I wasn't playing that week. I don't think Tiger was playing that week, but Martin Keimer was playing that week at Valderrama, I think. And Martin had to finish. We'd figured it out that Tiger was going to drop points. I was going to drop a tournament, so increase points. So I was going to go past Tiger. It was just a case of whether Martin was going to finish top 5 in Valderrama and he would go past me. And he ended up not finishing. He finished about 50th, I think. So he didn't go past me. So my dad is a mathematician. He was the first. He figured it out. And I was actually walking around Sainsbury's looking for rubber gloves, potatoes, and something else which I can't remember. But it was a bizarre shopping list. And I was walking down the aisle looking, and my phone rang, and my dad said, "Martin's parred the last, and he's finished 50th. So tomorrow morning you'll be world number one." And I was like, yeah, that's really odd. And then it would happen at certain times of day in certain places. It would occur to you that you're the best golfer in the world.
You are literally the best person in the world.
And I walked down that aisle, and I turned to the bottom of the aisle, and I walked back up the aisle. I was still looking for rubber gloves or something like that. And I stood there. I just stopped in the middle of the aisle, and I went, "I'm the best golfer in this aisle." Because I knew it was definitive, wasn't it? I knew that there wasn't anybody better than me. But, you know, when you do get to that point that you are the best golfer in the world, you stop just representing Lee Westwood. You represent the game of golf. You know, so that's a big responsibility. Literally, people are asking you stuff that you have no idea about. So you've got to be careful what you say, because you're representing everybody that plays golf and the game of golf itself. So
yeah, it's become the spokesman for the entire sport.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody suddenly is prick up when the world number one talks from any sport. Yeah. So that's interesting. And also you're the top of the pyramid then, and everybody wants that spot. So you've just got to work incredibly hard to stay there. Almost harder than when you got there.
Love that.
There's a different kind of pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, being there and defending it almost.
No one being ahead of you.
Yeah.
Only looking behind.
I eventually did find the rubber gloves.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Love that story. Riley, we're going to let you go, mate. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you so much for today as well. Been a real treat. Really, really enjoyed myself.
No, it was a fun day, wasn't it? Easy to enjoy today out there.
Yeah. We'd have had to play really bad not to enjoy it out there.
We tried our hardest. Give it a good go.
Stay tuned for the match.
Thanks very much. The only thing is, if you have anything you want to plug, you have anything that you need? Instagram?
Grips.
Grips?
Grips. Butter grips.
Plug your grips.
Grips, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Watches. Yeah, watches you want to plug?
Contracts haven't been signed. Watches, shot scope.
Yeah, shot scope, 100%. I did mean Lee, but we'll do yours if you want.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Lee, if you want to leave, because I've got a massive list. So here's one of them.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'll just let him scroll. Shall we just let him scroll? We'll let him scroll.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thanks.
Cool. Lee was amazing with his time. Just want to say massive thank you to him. Massive thank you to Close House for getting this all organised. Some very interesting topics there, I'm sure. Get down into those comments and digest and get into it. And get into the Discord as well, if you haven't already. Link in the description.
Done for remembering the Discord.
I've listened to so many like Seve stories just through YouTube and stuff like this. That was probably my favourite Seve like
cool.
story ever. Really, I thought that was
And I do
hilarious.
I think there maybe needs to be a league table of like other pros doing Seve impressions.
Yes.
That was a really good one.
Solid, wasn't it?
It was really, really
was
good.
good, it was
Felt
good.
like I was there.
Yeah, no, that was very, very
You were
good.
there at Valderrama.
I think I was.
Yeah. Just close your eyes. Could be on that putting green with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. He had some strong words to say about kind of the LIV and DP World and PGA Tour, situation that continues to unfold and develop, and also had some some really great things to say about the tournaments that he has played this year and the team at Majestics, and it was very interesting to get the perspective of someone, and lots of LIV players have been quite honest about why they took the deal and why they went. I thought Lee's reason was like really admirable, and he said, look, I was getting to a point in my career where it was either that or go and play on the Champions Tour, and I decided to do something that meant I got to play golf less, but also reap a little bit of a reward from it as well. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, just very, very honest, didn't he? Just very, very honest.
Well, he said in the past, like, get to a point in your career where if someone's going to offer you more money to play less events as a kind of a professional athlete, just purely from that, chances are you're going to say yeah.
Yeah, you consider it at least.
So yeah, and like for what he said today, he seems to be pretty happy with everything.
Yeah,
So for
very
him, he's probably made the right decision. But it's good. But
Excellent.
guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you are listening and haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do that now. And if you're watching us on YouTube and don't follow us on your favorite podcast provider, why not give that a go as well when you're driving? If you have a speaker that you can turn on in the shower, don't take one in if it's not waterproof, then do that as well.
You did say you were thinking about Lee Westwood in the shower this morning.
I always think about Lee Westwood.
Yeah, you
Wherever I
also
go.
said you were thinking about like a tee shot. What was it, 11th tee shot?
Oh, just wait for the video. You'll get the full breakdown of that. Right, guys. A huge thank you. See you next time. Let's just
Very
finish
succinct.
on that.
Yeah, well done. Thanks everyone. See you
See you
later.
later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Just bye. See you.
Fingers.